It's quite ironic when you think about it. Most of us spend our workdays dreaming about our free time. Yet, when the evening finally arrives, then this might resonate with we often waste it. We end up scrolling mindlessly, watching random videos, or just sitting there, feeling too tired to do anything meaningful. Listen, I get it. I used to be exactly like that, actually, worse. Every evening was a blur of exhaustion and missed opportunities. Until something transformed how I spend my after-work hours. Before you think, oh great, another set of impossible habits, pause for a moment. What you're about to learn isn't another collection of rigid rules or unrealistic routines. These are proven strategies that I've seen work time and time against strategies that align with your natural energy, not against it. They're simple changes, genuinely simple, that can transform your evenings from recovery time into growth time. In the next few minutes, we'll explore 8 powerful systems that work together to help you reclaim your evenings. Consider taking notes because we'll cover everything from energy management, which is different from what you might expect, to digital wellness, psychological techniques, and practical habits. Basically, everything you need to turn your evenings into the best part of your day. And I mean that. Chapter 1. Routines and structure. The way you spend your evenings actually shapes your entire life. But most people get it wrong when trying to fix their after-work hours. They focus so much on time management when what they really need is energy management. Consider this. Your evening isn't just numbers on a clock. It's about your energy levels, your mental state, and your ability to actually enjoy life after work. That's exactly what we need to work on together. Let's start with something I consistently practice: the shutdown ritual. It's beautifully simple. When you finish work, stand up, take 3 deep breaths, and physically close your laptop. What makes this effective? It's not just a cute habit, it's a psychological trigger that tells your brain, work mode off. Next, we need to implement the 90-minute evening block system. Your brain naturally works in 90-minute focus cycles. Instead of seeing your evening as one big chunk of free time, which, let's be honest, can feel overwhelming, we're going to break it into what I call power blocks. Here's how it works. Block 1. Recovery. This is your decompression time. No decisions, no planning, just pure recharge. And yes, you need this. Block 2. Growth. Whether it's learning something new, getting some movement in, or working on a hobby. This is when your energy starts climbing back up. Block 3. Connection. Your energy is balanced now, making it perfect for quality time with family or friends. Something unexpected that transformed my approach is reverse scheduling. Most people plan from morning to evening, but consider this. Your evening affects your morning more than your morning affects your evening. So we're going to flip the script. Start with when you want to sleep, then structure your evening blocks backward from there. Finally, the 2-minute evening reset. Every time you switch activities, take just 2 minutes to physically reset your space. Clear your desk, adjust the lighting, change your clothes if needed. These might seem like small actions, but they create profound changes. They have a massive impact. Asterisk. Chapter 2. Digital wellness. Let's discuss something that affects all of us. A well-designed evening requires digital boundaries. Consider this comparison. Vampires drain energy in those old movies, right? Well, your phone and laptop are like that. They're energy vampires, quietly draining your evening potential. I'm going to show you how to turn these devices from evening destroyers into evening enhancers. Let me share an unconventional approach I call app mortality. The challenge. Every evening, delete 1 app from your phone. A common concern is, but what if I need it tomorrow? And that's Fanu can always reinstall it. But what's remarkable is that 90% of the time, you won't even remember which app you deleted. Here's another approach, the analog hour. It's beautifully simple. 1 hour before bed, Your devices go to sleep before you do. But the crucial element most people miss. Don't just turn them off. Factually, put them in a different room. Consider this. Your bedroom becomes an amazing sanctuary instead of feeling like a satellite office. To be clear, digital minimalism isn't about living like it's 1985. It's about using technology intentionally. What's effective? Choose 3 essential apps for your evening. That's it. Everything else is just digital noise. Another effective approach is screen life separation tactics. The idea is to create physical barriers between you and your screens. For example, try putting your charger in the kitchen. Keep your laptop in a drawer, or use a real alarm clock instead of your phone. These might seem like small changes, but they build what I like to call a fortress around your evening peace. Remember this: technology should serve your evening, not steal it. These aren't just rules I'm sharing with you. They're keys to unlocking the evening you deserve. Chapter 3. Psychological Techniquests. Know that we've handled our devices. We'll focus on something equally important: our minds. Your mind is essentially the control room of your evening, and these psychological techniques aren't just tips from some book. They're real transformations I've seen work for after-work hours, both in my life and with hundreds of others. I've worked with an important insight that changed how I think about screens, is what I call digital sunset protocols. Consider this: your brain doesn't distinguish between digital light and sunlight. So, when you're staring at screens until midnight, your brain thinks it's high noon. But the key insight isn't just about when you look at screens, it's about how you transition away from them. Something that transformed my evenings was creating your evening sanctuary. And know this: it's not just about throwing some comfortable pillows around. It's actually about building a space that tells your brain, this is where transformation happens. Think dim lights, soft textures, calm colors. Your environment speaks directly to your subconscious mind, almost like a whisper. An interesting technique is future self-journaling. Every evening, try writing a letter to your morning self. But the psychological element that makes all the difference. Don't write what you should do. Instead, write how you want to feel. Your brain has this amazing ability to reverse engineer the path to those feelings. Speaking of mindset shifts, consider what I call the evening energy debt mindset. Most people see their evening as borrowed time from tomorrow, but the shift I recommend: stop thinking this way. Your evening isn't a debt you're paying. Think of it as an investment you're making. Each restful moment is actually building tomorrow's energy reserves. This approach is powerful. The decision elimination strategy. By evening, your decision-making muscles are literally exhausted. So, what works best? Eliminate every possible decision. Lay out tomorrow's clothes. Pre-plan your meals. Set up your morning space. Your future self will appreciate this. Asterisk. Chapter 4. Mindfulness and Emotional Intelligence Practice. The way we manage our thoughts naturally guides us to understanding our emotions. Your emotions aren't something you need to manage. They're actually signals waiting to be understood. And in your evenings, these signals become incredibly powerful tools for transformation. First up, something unexpected. Micro-meditation moments. Forget everything you know about sitting for an hour in lotus's position. We're going to think smaller, much smaller. For instance, when you pour your evening tea, and I do this every single day, just feel the warmth of the cup. When you sit on your couch, notice 3 points where your body touches the surface. These tiny moments of awareness work like hitting a reset button for your mind. One practice that transformed my evenings is creating an evening awareness protocol. Most of us, myself included at one point, rush through our evenings on autopilot. But I discovered your evening has a pulse. Try this. Every hour, take just 10 seconds to name your current emotion. That's all, just name it. Don't try to change it. The simple act of naming emotions actually reduces their power over you by 40%. This is where transformation happens. Present. Moment anchoring. Pick 3 everyday evening activities. Maybe it's brushing your teeth, washing dishes, or changing clothes. These become your mindfulness anchors. When you do these activities, you're not just going through the motions, you're practicing presence. I've found that these mundane moments can become your most powerful meditation. Try practicing emotional energy tracking. Your emotions aren't random at all, they follow patterns, just like everything else in nature. Try this. Keep a simple energy scale from 1 to 10. Track it 3 times each evening. After 2 weeks, you'll start seeing your emotional rhythms as clearly as your daily schedule. The evening emotional audit might sound intense, but it brings freedom. Before bed, ask yourself 3 simple questions. What energized me today? What drained me? What surprised me? Importantly, don't write essays. Single words are enough. You're not analyzing here. You're just acknowledging the most valuable lesson I've learned about evening emotions. They're not obstacles to overcome, their messages to decode. When you start listening to them with curiosity instead of judgment, something incredible happens. They become your most reliable guides to a fulfilled life. Chapter 5. Social strategies and dynamics. Beyond all this inner work we've been talking about, there's another crucial piece of the framework: our social connections. Consider this. We talk about physical energy, but your social energy matters just as much. Mastering this aspect leads to creating evenings that fill you up instead of leaving you feeling drained and empty. Think of it this way. Your social battery works exactly like your phone battery. Just like checking your phone's charge, you need to know precisely how much social energy you have left. That's what I've come to call the social battery management system. Some activities actually charge you up, while others drain you down. The key insight is figuring out your unique pattern. Instead of spreading yourself thin trying to maintain 20 different friendships, which I learned through experience doesn't work. Focus on building 3 to 5 deep connections. These people become your evening tribe. They're the ones who understand that sometimes you need connection, and sometimes you need space. An important aspect rarely discussed is energy vampires. And I want to be really clear here. These aren't bad people. They're just people whose energy patterns clash with yours. Try this. Do what I call an energy vampire audit. Start noticing which evening social interactions leave you feeling tired versus energized. Remember, this isn't about avoiding people. It's about timing your interactions wisely. The social recharge protocol works like a safety net. My observation shows that for every hour of social interaction, plan 15 minutes of quiet time. Think of it like cooling down after exercise. You wouldn't just stop running and sit down immediately, right? You need to walk it off first. What shifted my perspective? Is the connection productivity balance? What if connection is productivity? Those evening conversations might actually be recharging your creativity, problem solving, and emotional resilience in ways we never realized before. Think about mapping your social energy the same way you'd map a city. Some places naturally energize you, others drain you. Some people lift you up, others require more energy than you might have to give. And understand this, being selective isn't selfish, it's sustainable. It's about creating evenings that work for everyone involved. Chapter 6. Creative approaches for habit formation. That we've understood the social aspects, we can turn these insights into lasting habits. An insight from working with hundreds of people is that building evening habits isn't about forcing yourself to change. It's about becoming an architect of small, powerful actions that transform your life naturally. The key element, naturally, try micro-habit stacking. Instead of trying to build one big, overwhelming habit which never works, we stack tiny ones together. Each one should take less than 30 seconds. That's the optimal time. It works like this. When you walk through your front door, hang your keys, take off your shoes, and change your clothes. See what happened there? 3 micro habits, 1 natural moment. Something significant emerges when you find your evening keystone habit. Think of it like the first domino that makes all the others fall. For me personally, it's making a cup of tea. Such a simple thing, right? But this simple act sends a signal to my brain. The evening transformation begins now. And from there, everything else just flows naturally. Most people make this mistake. I certainly did. They try to stick to one hobby every evening. That's essentially like eating the same meal every single day. Instead, try creating a wheel of 4 different activities: reading, drawing, music, crafts, whatever speaks to you. Rotate through them. Your brain absolutely loves this variety, and it completely prevents evening boredom. Another thing you can try is the daily experiment protocol. It might sound like something from a science lab, but it's incredibly playful. Each evening, try one tiny new thing. Maybe sit in a different chair. I started doing this, and it changed my perspective. Use your non-dominant hand for something simple, or play music you've never heard before. These small experiments keep your brain flexible and your evenings interesting. This is where real impact occurs. Creative cross-pollination. Start letting your evening activities blend together naturally. If you're learning guitar, try doodling the chord patterns. If you're reading, act out the scenes. When you're alone, I found that when activities mix like this, your brain creates amazing new neural pathways. Evening boredom becomes literally impossible. And finally, a valuable lesson I wish I'd known years ago. Embrace the idea of a creative fallow period. Sometimes your evening energy will be low, but here's the thing that's not failure. It's actually your brain's natural reset. These quiet moments aren't empty at all. They're like a field resting between harvests, preparing for your next creative burst. Chapter 7. Energy Management. Cognitive and Physical Optimizational. These habits we've been talking about need energy to sustain them. Consider your brain and body as the power plants of your evening. Understanding how to manage them changes everything about your after-work hours. First, movement snacking. Forget about forcing yourself into a full workout when you're already tired. Instead, we're going to take tiny bites of movement throughout your evening. It's straightforward. Stand up every 30 minutes. Stretch for 60 seconds. Do 5 jumping jacks between tasks. The important point: these aren't exercise, they're energy boosters. I've observed something noteworthy about evening energy. It follows a natural curve. Visualize it like a wave. It doesn't stay flat. From 5 o'clock to 7 p.m., your energy naturally dips. We all feel it. Then, from 7 o'clock to 9 p.m., it rises again. After 9 p.m., it should gradually descend to prepare for sleep. Working with this curve, not against it, is the real secret to mastering your evening energy. Try this technique, the energy audit. Think of yourself as a personal evening scientist. For 1 week, rate your energy every hour from 1 to 10. Write down what you're doing, eating, thinking. You'll start seeing patterns emerge. Some activities drain you, others recharge you. Remember, this isn't about judgment, it's about discovery. Now, this next concept is mental energy preservation. Your brain has a finite amount of decision-making power each day. By evening, it's running low. That's why we need to establish your evening thought diet. You've got to be selective about what deserves your remaining mental energy. Social. Media scrolling, that's essentially junk food for your brain. But deep conversation or creative work, that's brain nutrition. Your evening energy isn't about pushing through tiredness. It's about understanding your natural rhythms and honoring them. When you work with your body's wisdom instead of fighting it, your evenings transform from exhausting to energizing. Chapter 8. Integration strategy severing we've explored so far comes together in these final integration strategies. These aren't just supplementary tips there. It's the framework that makes all other evening practices stick together naturally. The life-work separation ritual works as your daily bridge. Most people try to build a solid wall between work and life, but that actually creates more tension than it solves. Instead, we're going to build a bridge. Picture creating a 15-minute transition space. With each step across this bridge, you're moving further from work mode and closer to life mode. A key insight about boundaries: it's not about building walls at all. Think about training a puppy for a moment. Gentle, consistent guidance works better than harsh rules. That's exactly what we're doing here. When work tries to creep into your evening, and it will try, don't fight it, simply guide your attention back to your personal life. Just as you gently guide a puppy back to its bed. Finally, we come to what ties everything together: the whole life. Integration framework. Your evening isn't some separate part of your life, since actually the foundation of it. Every single evening activity either builds or drains your life's energy. The key is choosing activities that fill you up, creating spaces that lift your spirit, and building relationships that light up your world. When you do this consistently, your evening transforms into a beautiful daily celebration of who you're becoming. If you found this helpful, don't forget to subscribe and hit that like button. Let me know your thoughts on what I just shared. Oh, and there's more. I've started a Patreon to help support these videos and connect with you more directly. Check out the link in the description if you'd like to join. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.